Hello sim racers and welcome another live stream and another circuit walk today. Of course we are celebrating the release of the American Track Pack DLC, which includes Indianapolis Motor Speedway that we did yesterday, Watkins Glen that we are going to do today, and I have already pre-registered Kota circuit walk. I will release it and publish it tomorrow at some point. So we will have all the three circuits and you will have possibly the correct advice on reference points, racing lines, and all that interesting stuff. Okay, another important news. Our administrator and server administrator and moderator Andimon, always blame Andy, he has launched a new US mini series. They are starting tomorrow, Saturday, with Watkins Glen race. So by all means, if you really want to participate in our community, make sure to go and check the description of all my videos. There is there where you will find the link to our Discord community. Again, I remind you guys, this is a community, easygoing community. We try to learn from our errors, or we try to have fun inside the races. Accidents may happen because we have from very, very fast drivers to very, very new drivers that are trying to improve. So if you get into an accident, don't worry too much, don't get crazy, don't get angry. Go immediately into the chat, post the lap and the situation, or even better, video, and everybody will be more than helpful, and will try to find out if it was your fault or if it was the other driver's fault, and most importantly, how you could avoid the accident even if it's not your fault. So this is what we do in our community every single time. So remember, again, tomorrow, go check in our Discord community for the US mini series starting tomorrow from Watkins Glen. All right, so what can we do? Oh, here we are. The new YouTube interface is asking me to insert an ad right now in live, so I can do more money and they can do more money. And you know what? We are not going to do it because we don't care about that. So let them asking for extra ads. We are not going to do it. All right. So let's go directly into the sim and start our Watkins Glen circuit walk. All right, I think we're gonna try it with this wonderful Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo of the Triarsi Competizione team. I really like this new livery from the US league. Really cool. Hello everybody. Hello guys. Hello guys. Really glad to see you on the chat this early in Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday, guys. Amazing. All right, so let's go in. And I don't know why, but I don't know exactly why, but I always, when I say Watkins Glen, in my mind, it's always early in the morning for whatever reason. So this is what I did, practice at 7 o'clock in the morning. There's an amazing light from the rising sun. Wonderful, wonderful. So let's go in. Orange, my favorite color. I would say red probably, but also blue and also orange. So that's the top three. Look at this. This is so beautiful, guys. So beautiful. Amazing. Wonderful. Really wonderful. All right. So Watkins Glen, very, very easy to learn track. I mean, not very easy, but relatively easy to learn track, but very, very technical. Easy to learn, very hard to master. There are turns in here that they look, you know, normal 90 degrees turns, but because of the conformation of the asphalt and the camber, look at the camber on those turns. You can bring in incredibly higher speed than normally you would think, and it's very easy to lose time if you don't know how to approach those turns. So today we're gonna try and learn and improve ourselves and possibly help you as well to get better into that track. Mikael BD39 says, are we ever going to get under trade damage? This is something that I would really love to, but I see it as very, very difficult to obtain in this situation as we are with the code that we have. But I honestly am all for it, and the only thing I can tell you, I'd love to have this. If you have the usual questions about VR, as usual, so the usual guys, go to our Discord community and ask Octavian, a user in our Discord community. He's very helpful with the VR configuration. He might be able to help you and make you improve your experience in VR. All right, guys, Watkins Glen circuit walk. Let's go. Aggressive setup, a little bit extra pressure here. Let's go up to 5. Less effect of positive camber. What do you mean exactly, positive camber? Hey Salvatore, all good, mate? All right, let's drive.
Green light. Go, go, go.
And let's go instantly. Pit exit here. Goes instantly downhill. Hello, John. You have to be a little bit careful here. Late apex and a little bit patient to apply throttle, because otherwise it's very easy to go over that line and go into the other drivers that are arriving, you know, from the main track. So be patient. This is easy, flat out, almost. We will discuss about those S's here on our walkthrough. Let's do a first lap. And this is the back straight, practically the longest, almost the longest straight. We are going to start braking before the 300 marker, cut a little bit, not too much, and cut again and stay close and tight, flat out here. Late apex here, like this. Depending on the car, you can downshift or not. Again, depends on the car. Late braking and very late apex for this one. Extremely late braking here. The apex is very strange. You need to release the brakes and let the car rotate alone, because the track goes instantly from downhill to uphill. Brake around 200 mark. And another very late apex, you see? I'm waiting before going in, and now I can accelerate again. Instantly go to the right. Brake and late apex once more. Wait, accelerate. You will get some oversteer. Now this is, you don't have to brake for this. At 100 meters, you go in, you raise your foot, you go a little bit over the curb there, and then over the outside curb. And this one is very technical. We will talk about this in a minute. You have to bring a lot of speed in here. And this is a very too long, very tired, didn't want to see anything else lap of the Watkins Glen. And let's start the actual walkthrough, all right? Before starting this, a very small parenthesis for Abin Jbin, which asks, if he lowers the camber at the rear at slow, medium speed turns, he can feel the loss of grip, of lateral grip. Fine. But at very high speed corners, he doesn't feel the oversteer and seems to have the same grip as before. Well, here's an interesting thing. At very high speeds, the downforce pushes your car down. And when your car is pushed down, the suspension goes up. And when the suspension goes up, you gain negative camber. So even if you have, less static negative camber, when you go up, okay, your negative camber becomes even higher, more negative camber, right? Which brings the tire in the perfect or almost the perfect negative camber situation. Incredibly enough, if you have a lot of negative camber and your car is pushed down and the suspension goes up, you gain even more, and possibly sometimes you go even over the optimum amount of negative camber. So from one side you lose a little bit of grip, but not much. From the other side you gain a little bit. In the end, the result is pretty much the same at the very high end speeds. It's the downforce that provokes most of the grip, and the negative camber that you have during the turn is not that much different. I hope that explains that to you. Hey, MS Racing, I will be passing from Croatia tomorrow, I think. I have a long trip tomorrow. All right. No worries, Albin. I really like this kind of questions. I like that you felt that, which is a very nice thing, and I like that I am also able to give you, logic and physics-based answer to this. Yeah, family vacation by the Tesla, not Miata. All right, so let's go back to the circuit. Actually, let's start the circuit walk of Watkins Glen. Right, so not much to say here. Straight line, except that at some point the straight line goes really downhill. It is quite a bit of a downhill. As usual, the monitor doesn't let us understand how much downhill we go. Your reference point for starting braking, at least initially, is just before the 200 meters. Let me for a moment change the mouse cursor. We will need it so I can show you better, right? So give me a second, guys. All right. Okay, now we can see again the mouse, and let's go to cam like this, and you will be able to see the mouse cursor, this round circle here. So first braking reference point is the 200 mark over here. As usual, some people will start looking at the more dark marks of the rubber into the asphalt. My advice, as always, is don't do that. If it rains, if the track is green, if the sun is at some place that it has too much reflection on the asphalt, you will completely lose your braking reference point and you have big issues. So always try to get a reference point that it is static, that it remains as it is through the whole racing day. All right? So here it is, 200. We start braking very hard, of course. We're going really downhill. Actually, I would really like to show you how much downhill this place is. And to let you show, we will go outside like that. Okay, so let me see if I can show you like this. Sometimes I can do it, sometimes I cannot do it. Yeah, this is better, I think. Or not. Yeah, we cannot see it really nice because it's already the camera is rolled and we don't have a roll control, unfortunately. But you can see already how much it is. I mean, it's really, the camber of the road is towards the inside a lot, and a lot of downhill. So you really have to be heavy on the brakes here. Okay. Cinema HUD is a single middle click of the mouse. Middle click here on the scroll wheel. It gives you, when you are in F7 mode, it gives you the extra menu. So we go in. Why there are only 3 tracks? Because that's what we managed to do. Guys, I mean, I don't want to. I know, and it is a great compliment for us that you always put us into, you know, comparison with big names into the gaming, you know, titles like Gran Turismo or Forza or whatever. It really is a compliment for us. But I have to remind you that in the end of the day, we are always 20 people, you know, 30 with everybody and our cats and dogs and everything, fishes and everything. So we are a very small team. We do whatever we can. So this is what we can. All right, so let's go downhill here, and you need to start going into the turn a little bit sooner and release the brakes. Why is that? You want to go over that curb, but not too much, because as you can see, it seems that the curb is flat, but in reality it isn't. That part here goes downwards, right? And then it raises, and it is quite a bit of a raise here. Okay, and you really want to be very careful on that, because you'll see that if I bring the car over here, okay, you are really practically touching, you see? It is so close. Now, if you are not braking like that, or even accelerating, then you might be able to go over this curb, but usually you're still braking, and that means that the front end of the car is going down, it's going into pitch, so you are going to touch with the under tray and your front splitter the inside curb, which means that you're going instantly into understeer, and you don't want that to happen into the turn-in and apex of this turn. So my advice is, don't overdo it, don't go completely over that curb, and most importantly, just before going over the curb, release the brakes completely so that the nose goes up a little bit, maybe give a hint of acceleration, go up, and at the apex, obviously, hard on the acceleration, you will slide on the outside and you will go over this very, very large curb. The limits here is the whole curb, all right? Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much for your support, mate. Thanks, Kevin. Really appreciate it. And so you will end up very, very wide on this curb. Let me show you. This is pretty much good. All right. So if you manage to arrive like this, don't worry about it. You're still into the track limits. This is exactly what they do also in the real race. Just, you know, go over the curb. But it also pays to, when you're sliding, to keep on also going forward. So what I mean by that? I mean that you need to do a good line here, okay, in order to go forward, not just slide wide and that's it. You don't want to just slide wide into the turn. You need to get as much traction as possible and accelerate, because after this T1 we have the S's, and the S's are all flat out with a GT3 car, and you need to get as much speed as possible. Everywhere in Watkins Glen, the whole curb is the track limit, so after the whole curb you are going out of track limits. All right, so as I said, these are the S's here. We are starting going uphill. Look at this. The road goes downhill and then instantly goes uphill. You are going to enter this easy flat out. The first turn is very easy flat out. Try to use as less steering input as possible. Why is that? Because the more steering input you give, the more you are scrubbing the tires and you are consuming them, but most importantly, you are scrubbing speed as well, because you are raising the rolling resistance when you do that. So as less steering input as possible, very wide lines, all right? We are going uphill now and into the second part of the S's, and this is one of the turns that you want to be extra careful. Why is that? It's a very easy flat out. Okay, it's a very easy flat out. But if you are late on your stint, so your tires are very worn out, your car is very light, so it accelerates even faster, okay? And you are following very closely a car in front of you, and so you might be under the slipstream, you might get a little bit too much aero downforce. The speed here is important. You will be arriving at over 200 kilometers per hour over here. So you might get into a bit of aero understeer, for example. And the problem with aero understeer in this situation is that you might be going, wide a little bit too much for comfort. And as you can see, the guardrail here is right at the limit of the road. So there is no escape, okay? And the problems are two. If you are going wide and you want to avoid hitting the guardrail, you will need probably to raise your foot a little bit. And if you have cars behind you, they will get all the slipstream and they will instantly overtake you in the straight that follows. So that's one problem. The worst case scenario is that if you don't raise your foot and you go and hit a little bit the guardrail here, obviously you're going to get damaged, but most importantly, you might lose control of your car or slide a little bit. And if someone is following you very closely, it might hit you. And if it hits you here, as you can see, the road is extremely narrow. Everyone behind you is arriving at full speed, and it's not uncommon to have big ones, accidents where the whole road is blocked and everybody is plumbing and hitting all the cars that are spinning in front of them. So it can be apparently it's a very easy situation, but it can be also very risky, and you need to be a little bit more careful when your tires are worn out, or if it rains, for example. Even more importantly, if you drive cup cars or GT4 cars, you need to be even more careful, because it might not be easy to do flat out as it is with the GT3 cars. So extra careful into the S's. Don't underestimate the danger here. What happened? Oh, we have another one that is offended because we cannot work more. Whatever. Console for yeah. Okay. We can. I guess we can. Guy, I will only tell you one thing. This is my personal channel. I do this to stay in close contact with the community, and I love that. But I do it also for fun. Okay. So I'm not. If you have complaints, I agree with you. Whatever. You need to go into the official channel. If you complain here with me, you update nothing. You just ruined it for everybody else that enjoys what we do. So by all means, I advise you to go to complain on the official channels, which I can assure you people are reading the complaints and act accordingly. You might be in accordance with them or not, but whatever. If you keep on doing that, though, here in the channel at some point this is considered spam and trolling and you get banned. So it is what it is. All right, so let's go. As we said, easy flat out, but don't underestimate. Let's move on. Thank you, Octavian, mate. So, back straight here, high speeds, and we will start braking, just a bit the 300 meters, all right? Let's go back a little bit. So, just a bit the 300 meters. This is the 300, sorry, probably it's not meters, it's some strange and obscure length ruler, whatever. I don't know if it's attoparsecs or Jose Avul or whatever, I don't know. Anyway, so this is it, and I cannot move my mouse, I don't know why. Let me double check what happened here. Okay, now we can move it again. And we will start braking a little bit before, and as you get better and better and better, you might be able to brake later and even closer to the 200 meters. But you could brake at 200 meters possibly when you are defending or when you are trying to overtake. But when you brake so late into this turn, you are practically sacrificing the whole bus stop, this double chicane is called the bus stop. So I would advise you at around 300 mark start braking. Brake enough, but not too much. Release the brakes after the 200 meters, somewhere around close to the 100 here mark, and cut just the correct amount. Don't try by all means to cut completely. I mean, I know some aliens will try to cut it all and they will probably succeed. But my advice is don't cut too much, because it is going to make your car jump a lot. You can see it is quite high. It is also stepped, and it is going to make your car jump around, and it's going to be difficult, all right? So try to cut the correct amount as soon as you can, okay? Try to go to the left. Here you can cut quite a lot. You can almost go over the grass, okay? And what you want to do is exit from this curb and stay close. You don't want to end up very wide here. So you want to end up somewhere around here or a little bit over to the right, but you don't want to go over here, because if you go too wide, then you will be forced to release a lot the accelerator or even touch the brakes in order to get the front end to go back into the left for the next part of the chicane. Okay, so try to keep it, you know, tidy and close to the left part of the road. Once you are here and you can see the correct exit, just go flat out, okay? Flat out over here. Should be easy flat out here. The car will jump around, but if you don't do strange things with your steering wheel, you shouldn't have issues, okay? Yeah, Zabzi, I will check the M6 engine on Watkins. And yeah, it depends obviously on the cars, but you know, we are doing a basic walk around and go through, and for sure fast people will find more limits. Track limits are the whole curbs here for Watkins Glen, as on almost all the circuits. There are there's a very small amount of circuits that have the white line as track limits in ACC. Okay. It's extremely risky in real life, Joseph. They would never do it, you know. Aliens can do it, can do infinite amount of practice and learn. Some people do it also in real life, but again, remember, zero doesn't mean actually zero. There is always some downforce. All right. It's more unstable, but you know, aliens like to have a car that rotates a lot. Okay, so a little bit of braking. Don't overdo it. Okay, for the entry on this right-hander, the right-hander starts to get narrower and narrower, and you need a late apex. So keep your car into the middle of the road. Even if it's very easy to go inside, okay, it's very easy here to just turn a little bit more and go inside. Don't do it. Keep your car into the middle of the road, somewhere like that, okay. Stay here, release the accelerator or give less accelerator so that you load the front tires. You don't really need to, you know, to brake here. And when you see this patch of asphalt and this extra curb, at the end of it, this is the moment when this ends, okay? This is the moment that you want to release the accelerator a little bit extra and go inside, and then start accelerate. Don't wait too much to accelerate. You need to accelerate as soon as possible. And if you do the correct line over here, as you can see, there is tons of camber. Look at how much cambered the asphalt is here, the track. I mean, tons of camber, right? I mean, if you go into the side of the road over here, look at this. This is crazy, actually. if you go over here, okay, you will see that the outside of the road is practically almost, you know, more than half the height of the car. Look at this. Can you see that? It's almost more than half the height of so there is a difference of 1 meter in height from the inside of the road to the outside of the road. It's a lot of camber. All right? So this camber, even if you are accelerating full throttle here, yes, you're gonna get a little bit of understeer, but this camber will keep you in. The car will slowly slide to the outside, but you will be able to keep it and just go over this curb and keep the car still into the asphalt. As soon as the curb ends, you need to go to the right instantly, because as you can see, the asphalt here ends and you have grass and you don't want to go over the grass. All right, so instantly go to the right, position your car for the next turn, very late braking because we will start braking here. This is your reference point. This patch of cement over here is your reference point. It's a little bit hard to look at, but this is your reference point. As you get better, you will be able to brake even a little bit after this, but don't overdo it for the first lap. Start braking at this patch of cement, okay? And this is another of those turns. Is one of those turns in Watkins Glen where you really need to trail brake a lot. You really need to have a lot of sensitivity to your braking force. And if you are not so good, then as we said on another video, use the ABS level to help you with the trail braking. Use the brake bias to the rear to help you with trail braking. You really need to keep the front end gripping and help the car rotate through the turn. So what we're going to do here, start braking over here as we said. We will keep the car to the outside, slowly going to the inside, but we will not rush to go to this apex as soon as possible. No, we will wait. We will keep the car a little bit in the middle of the road, okay? And can you see those billboards and adverts at the side of the road? Now, when those are arriving almost, you know, to disappear, this is where you want to be on the apex. Practically, when those goes away, then your car has to be on the apex, very late apex over here, and then you can start accelerating. So you're staying like that on the outside. The ads, the billboards go past you, and once you do this, then you go into the apex like that, and pretty much just before the end of the fence, you start accelerating, okay? You start accelerating. It's very, very technical. It's very, very technical. We will see it later on a faster lap. If you do it properly, then again, the camber of the road will keep you inside. You will start sliding towards the outside, but there is enough width of the road to keep the car in place. If you have done everything correctly, then your outside tires will just go over the curb over here, and this is perfection, okay? It's really hard. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of practice, but when you do it right, it gives so much satisfaction. It really is amazing. Going to the left side, and here we are going to start braking really late. So past 300 mark, past 200 mark, we are arriving at 100 mark, okay? Thank you, P-Dub, thank you, mate. And start braking just before the 100 mark. The experts will brake at the 100 mark, but I will advise you to start braking just before the 100 mark, pretty much here, at least initially, okay? The moment you start braking, heavy brake, also go towards the turn, but don't go into this apex, okay? This seems like an apex, but this is not where you want to be, okay? You need to be like half car width to the middle of the road. So we are going to brake hard and position the car somewhere around here. Okay, now this is, as you can see, this is the point where the truck stops to go downhill and the uphill starts. All right, the uphill starts, and you don't want to be exactly on the curb. You want to be somewhere around here. So leave some space before going into the curb. All right, why you want that? When you are arriving at the end of the downhill, even if you think that you are too fast, even if you feel the understeer, even if you think that, oh my God, I'm gonna crash, I need to brake even harder, please, please, please try it. It's gonna be, you know, mind-blowing experience. Release the brakes completely and go into full coasting. I know your brain will gonna tell you, no, don't release the brakes. We need to stop and slow down the car. We're going wide. Release the brakes, go into full coast while you're still turning, okay? And because the car goes uphill, your tires will get loaded so much that you're gonna gain amazing grip, first to the front of the car, obviously, because this is the first one that experiences the uphill, and you're gonna get extra lateral grip from this dip on the road, and you will be able to close the turn. Believe me, you will be able to even go over the curb if you're not careful. So don't go over the curb, but stay as close as you can, okay? This is an amazing experience of lots of lateral grip after releasing the brakes. We will see this in the fast lap afterwards. And go slowly to the accelerator, but honestly wait to go through that past this Marshall here, or even better past this end of the tires, the tire wall over here. When you go over that tire wall here, go hard on the accelerator, flat out, okay? But your adventure is not over yet. So here we go, flat out. Once you do that, start to unwinding your steering wheel. Flat out acceleration, but unwind your steering wheel, because if you keep steering, either you're gonna go into understeer or power oversteer. It really depends on the car. Some cars have less weight at the rear because they are front engine, and those cars will instantly go into power oversteer if you're not giving less steering input. So you need to straighten up slowly your steering input, your steering wheel, and you will have more traction. Some cars that have a lot of traction because they are rear engined, they will raise the front end and will go into understeer. Again, giving less steering input, it will bring the front tires into the peak of the lateral grip, and it will make the turn properly instead of going into terminal understeer. You don't want to be like that into terminal understeer. So flat out here, the car will slide outside. Now there is a little bit of extra asphalt at the end. You see the white line is here, but there is a tiny bit of extra asphalt, and believe me, if you have done everything correctly, then everything's gonna be fine. You will end up just over the white line over here. Just take care to go back inside, because of course then you have the grass and you don't want to go over the grass. Straight line uphill. Flat, and we go downhill again. Isn't this amazing? I mean, such a short straight line, and of course they couldn't make it just flat or just uphill or just downhill. No, you have to go uphill, flat, and then downhill again on the braking zone. What a track. 200 mark, this is where we will start our braking points. Okay, so 200 mark, start braking hard. We are going downhill now. Wait, brake in a straight line, wait to go in, don't go in too early, wait, and go in now and start modulating. Lots of trail braking here, because as you can see, let's have a look from the above. Look at this. As usual, you can see that you need a late apex somewhere around here, because this turn is so strange. It's not just a constant radius turn, but it's strange. It's changes, the radius changes. So you need again to take a little bit of a late apex over here, like that, wait, and then accelerate. Okay, so pretty much, you know, if you really want to have there are not enough reference points over here, but if you want to try to find a reference point over here, I would advise you that once you are on the apex and you get the this big module sign in the middle of the road, this is the sign that you can start going into the accelerator again. Before that, you're gonna have issues of understeer and you're gonna end up very wide. So going outside now, you can go over this curb without big issues, instantly to the right, and there's just a slight reference point here for your braking. It's really hard, so you need to focus quite a bit. It is between this first billboard and the second billboard, and unfortunately I'm afraid that at some point in the race some car will go into an accident and wipe out those billboards, so you cannot take the billboards as a reference point. So what I'm advising you to use is this slight patch of grass. I know it doesn't seem like it, but once you know it is there, it's easier for you to look at it. This is it. You can see it. You see this slight patch of dirt over the grass. This is your reference point. I'm sorry, guys. That's all you get. That's all you get here. Again, I know it's difficult, okay? But the more you practice into the circuit, and the more you'll be able to find out this patch of grass. A guy asked me, is this something that you put in to help out with reference point, or those things exist? In the cement patch over there, that thing exists, and it is helpful for the driver, so sometimes you just use something that already exists. When nothing exists, I can assure you, real drivers and their teams go into the turns and try to, you know, put marks on the asphalt, or even, you know, take some grass out to put marks. This is common use in the races. All teams do it, all drivers do it. You need to get as much help as possible. So they do it. All right, so we are braking straight, and again we're gonna use a very late apex. So modulating the braking force here while we're going into the turn, but we keep on staying at the right side of this white line of the asphalt. You see that line of the asphalt? Just try to stay on the right side, and when the white line stops, this is an asphalt patch practically, when this stops, then you need to start going inside for a late apex. Okay, this is what you want to do. So let me show you from the top view why you need such a late apex once more. Look at this turn. The uphill and then flat, it's a blind turn, doesn't permit you to understand how long this turn is. So from this point here where we start braking, we are going uphill, and we think that this is the turn and this is where it stops. In reality, the turn keeps on going and going and going. It's almost a 180 degrees turn, right? So that's why you need to stay on the outside and then take a late apex somewhere around over here so that you can accelerate out of the turn. Let's go inside. As I said, now we are going to get the late apex over here, and we are going to accelerate. My advice is go to the accelerator gradually. Don't overdo it, because it's very easy. If you go hard on the accelerator, okay, it's easy to go into understeer here. So go gradually. Once you see that the car is going into an almost correct line, but you feel that it is slightly too wide, then push all the accelerator, and you will see that pretty much all the cars will go into a bit of power oversteer, and it will help you rotate the car and shoot your car out of the turn in a straight line. So somewhere around here that you feel like, oh, I'm going a little bit wide, this is where, if you have done everything correctly, you are pretty much at the middle of the accelerator. Okay, give it all the juice that you have, and the car will power oversteer, and with a little bit of oversteer you will exit over here and you will be straight for the next turn. All right, so gradually accelerate, accelerator around 50%. When you see that the car is a little bit wide, okay, but not too wide, hard on the accelerator, power oversteer, and if you have done everything correctly, it's very, very satisfying. Nicholas, thank you, buddy. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the support. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your kind words as well. All right. Next update, small trowel to turn over a little bit of turf. That would be really nice to have. Honestly, it would be very immersive. I would love something like that, to be actually able to walk around, and do things. For now, it's science fiction, but you never know in the future. All right, so let's go. Now you accelerate, third gear, and so on. Very, very tricky. This is the penultimate turn, very tricky. We are arriving flat out. Don't brake. Flat out. 100 mark, all right? 100 mark. Once you are almost at the 100 mark somewhere here, don't brake. Turn in, okay? Turn in and release the accelerator. So go inside in coasting. Some cars will turn in way too much, some cars less. If your car turns in way too much, release the accelerator, but then stay with a little bit of accelerator, 10%, 20%, it depends on the car. Some cars will not turn that much. At that point, release the whole accelerator and they will turn, okay? In the meantime, thank you so much, Drift Boys and Matt, for the follow on the channel. So, very important again, go in without braking, just release the accelerator the correct amount in order to make the car have enough front-end grip to go into the turn. At the apex of the turn, you need to be almost coasting or completely coasting, and touch the inside curb. Now, as you can see, this is extremely important if you want to do this turn perfectly. So as you can see, okay, this curb over here goes slightly upwards, okay? If you manage to go like that inside, that means that your rear, your rear wheel will be a little bit on the air and will start sliding, which means that your differential will push power to the outside. And by pushing power to the outside, that rotates the car. This is the moment you hear the curb noise, it means that you have done the turn correctly. That's when you want to go over the accelerator, because when you do that, the power on the outside wheel will rotate the car. Okay, rotating the car is exactly what you need to exit the turn, sliding a little bit and drifting over the outside. Now, on the outside, you can go over the curb like this. Don't overdo it. Again, it's easy to get a penalty here. Okay, it is difficult, but again, as I said, this is a very technical track. You really need to make it everything perfect. David, mate, man, thank you so much. Thank you so much, mate. Thank you for your support, but most importantly, David, thank you for all the company and friendship that you give us into our Discord server. I always appreciate it. That I'm very glad that I have you guys in our Discord server. Thank you. 10 euros on the Tesla takes me quite a bit of a trip, quite a bit of a distance, I have to say. Salvatore Mato says, a very nice question. The stiffness of the bump stops is indeed at 10 millimeters compression. Until those 10 millimeters, it's not linear, it's still hyperbolic, but it's almost linear because it is the initial part. But again, it depends. I mean, not all bump stops are the same. They differ from car to car. So I cannot give you a normal answer to that. There's no specific answer. It depends from car to car, but the change is not that dramatic at the initial 10 millimeters. After those 10 millimeters, it starts being more dramatic. Joseph, yeah, the cost was quite high. The cost was very high. I wouldn't say, you know, as high or higher than, for example, Spa or Suzuka, which are, you know, the most costly tracks, but we are at very close levels, and all three tracks were as high. Okay, yeah, White Clouds, I'm with you. Yeah, you're right, Marble. Here's hoping for the future. All right, so exit this very, very fast turn. It's really very fast, the penultimate turn. We go at the left side as fast as possible, and you really want to go to the left side a little bit sooner than normal, so just, you know, slam the car to the left side. Why is that? This is the pit lane entry line, okay? This line delimits the pit entry, and this is your reference point, more or less, on what you need to do. This last corner seems so easy. 90 degrees, you know, just do the corner, go into the straight line, no big deal. Everything is delimited, and I mean, there's nothing really remarkable into that corner. We couldn't be more wrong about that. So, what do we need to do here? As you can see, this corner, it has a very strange conformation. So it goes downhill, lots of camber, and uphill again. The changes are subtle, but they are existent, and they are very important. Let me show you again from closer. You see, it goes a little bit downhill, like this here, and right at the apex, you have all the camber of the asphalt, of the track, and then it goes uphill again at the exit. So it's very, very strange. Now, what does this mean? You remember how we did the corner downhill that goes uphill. When you go downhill and you try to turn, you have understeer, right? In the middle of the turn, when you have the apex of the turn, you have the end of the dip, and you go uphill, so you get extra load on the tires, which means that you have extra grip for the uphill. Now bring all this information together. What it means is that you want to enter this turn faster than what you normally would want to do. Quite a bit faster than what you normally want to do and what the radius of the turn suggests. And while you do that, you will feel a lot of understeer. So you want to go into the turn a little bit earlier because you know that you will be sliding wide because of the understeer. It's a terrible feeling. You go inside the turn, you're already sliding into understeer, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to end up to the wall. It's, you know, mathematical. It's what's going to happen. And then a miracle happens. Actually, no, physics happens. So, just before the pit lane entry line, you start braking hard and you go into the turn, even though it seems a little bit too early. Okay, you go into the turn and it seems a little bit early, and the understeer kicks in. Okay, the understeer kicks in, and that understeer will keep your car a little bit wide. It won't go exactly where you're pointing it into the turn, but it will keep the car a little bit wide. All right, when you arrive here, release the brakes once more. Release the brakes once more. You're gonna hit the apex, go instantly into the accelerator. Accelerate as hard as you can. You're going uphill now and you find extra new lateral grip. The car will stop understeering, almost, but it will stop understeering as much as needed in order to slide wide and gain all that important speed for the exit. Now, I know all that stuff feels and seems extremely theoretical, and I know that you might think that I'm crazy and how you can learn how to do this turn. There is an indication. The indication, unfortunately, you are going to get it at the exit of the turn, and no, it's not hitting the wall every time. Which means that once you have done the error, from the indication that I'm about to tell you, you're going to understand that, okay, I can bring even more speed inside the turn, but then you have to wait one whole lap to try it again, okay? So here's what is going to happen. If you are outside from the apex, we just went through the apex now, and we are accelerating flat out, okay? We are accelerating flat out. If you are accelerating flat out and you can easily move your steering wheel and make the car end the turn in the middle of the road, or, you know, you don't need, anytime that you don't need the whole width of the road, anytime that you can turn a little bit more or keep the turning, and you see that the car just follows the line and ends up just, you know, touching the curb or even more inside of the curb, okay, which means that you have extra lateral grip to spare, that's the indication that you were too slow at the exit, which means that somehow you need to bring more speed at the turning of the turn. Okay, you don't have enough space to accelerate enough to make the car slide to the outside. So all you need to do, and it is very difficult and very dangerous, is bring more speed on the inside of the turn, okay, and trust that the car will start to slide to the outside but still make the turn. So if you sliding at the exit of the turn and you see that you are arriving at the limit, almost kissing the wall here, and whatever you do with the steering wheel, you cannot pull the car into the inside, but you just need the whole width of the road to make the turn, that's the indication that you did everything correctly. It's crazy. It's guys, believe me, it's crazy. But once you will be able to do it the first time, it's gonna be, you know, a revelation. It's gonna be like, oh my God, what just happened? Can I really bring so much speed into this turn? Every time you exit the turn and you are like here, or even worse here, and you just, you know, driving around to go wide into the turn, but you don't need all that width of the road properly, that means that you were way too slow at the entry of the turn. Okay? So very, very strange. And this concludes a lap into Watkins Glen. All right? So this is it. Let me know if you liked it. Let's go with some questions, and then we will do a couple of laps, a couple of fast laps to showcase how you can drive properly into this track. All right? Colin, if you hit 10 cars in turn 1, that's a strike, yeah. Otherwise, you can hit, you know, 5, 3, or whatever, and make a spare. Now, it's not intended, but if you're pushing too much the limits, I'm still working on the track limits on Kota to give you as much, you know, track limits as possible. But, you know, sometimes it might be a little bit extra. It depends also how the turn is, how long the car is, and so on. Let me... All right. Well, yes, in multiplayer, you know, you don't want to do any touching, because it's not only an issue of the actual game and code, that we know there are limitations in the net code always in all games, but it's also a physical issue of you know, ping and lag that we have from the server. People are around the world, and even the best possible connections still have, I don't know, 10 milliseconds of lag between them, so touching each other, it's always going to be a little bit of an issue. I mean, and that's in 10 milliseconds. Let's not even talk when you are playing here and maybe your opponent is somewhere else around the world and you have like 100 milliseconds or 150 milliseconds or, God forbid, 200 milliseconds of lag of ping. Yeah. No, travel. The modtech shows travel, not vertical displacement, which take into account also the tires, flex. Which car has some advantage? I don't know. It's a very well-balanced track. You need a car that has power for the uphills. You need a car that it is easy on the curbs, and you need a car that has agility. So it's like you need, a front engine car and a mid engine car and a rear engine car. It's a very balanced car. So it's like Spa or Kota or Bathurst, so to say. Yeah, it's difficult. Slipstream, well, first of all, it is possible in real life, especially single-seaters use negative toe. So it is something that they do use. That said, the way the aliens use it in Assetto Corsa Competizione does not satisfy me. I am of the opinion, once more, that they could use alternative things into the setup and be just as fast and realistic. But as all human beings, they like to get one value and know that, okay, I can put that to the maximum of the slider and that works. That's fine. So they tend to use that because it works for them. As I said, I'm not satisfied. There are things that happen in reality that it's not like the car will be completely unstable if you do it. It will be more unstable than what we have. But most importantly, it will burn, overheat, or consume the tire more than what we have. It's not easy to program right now with the model that we are using right now. I wish at some point that we might be able to do something about it, but it is what it is. Again, it's less of an issue, in my opinion, than what the broad use from the alien seems to indicate. I'm still confident that for a different compromise between zero toe, less negative camber, and different suspensions, you're going to obtain more or less the same performance. But obviously, you need more research for something like that. Domino, the Aston got a little bit of a bump into the mid-range power, so it should be competitive again, I believe. At least more competitive than what it was. To should sorry guys, YouTube asked me to insert an ad right now so that they can gain more money, and myself as well, and this is exactly what we are not going to do again once more. So they keep on popping, insert that ad right now. Yeah, let's help the poor guys. Now we want. So To in real life mainly influences the flash surface temperature. Okay, should we do a fast lap, guys? Or if you have another question about it, let me know. Should I comment because why steering wheel input angles in ACC versus real life are somewhat different? Well, as you said, somewhat. For some cars are extremely close. For some other cars are somewhat different. That depends on many factors. Some people use different steering ratios in the game. Usually, in real life, you cannot change the steering angle. One of the information that we don't have, for example, is that the steering ratio is not always linear. It tends to be less linear in around the straight line position. So for small turns, you need less steering, more steering input, and for more turn you need less steering input. That might be one of the things that are slightly different. Another thing is that in real life you can scrub out and burn the tires even more than in assetto corsa competizione. It's not easy to simulate, and it's not easy to understand how to do it exactly, and mainly also drivers, you know, in the sim simply don't care. Now that's extremely important here. What I mean by don't care, in real life, if you know those are professional drivers, and if your race engineer or Pirelli comes to you and tell you, you have too much graining and you are forcing the tires way too much, you need to give less steering input, you can be certain that the professional racing driver will do exactly as told in order to gain just 1 millisecond at the end of the stint if possible. In sim racing, okay, what do you get? You get 90% of the people which are drivers like me, okay, or I don't know, 70% of the people are drivers like me, 20% of the people are slower than me, and we don't care if we lose a little bit of tire life at the end of a stint, so we're gonna be a little bit sloppy with our steering wheel movements. Who cares, right? And then you get the aliens, the 5%, the 10% of the people, okay, which are faster than us. Those guys certainly are going to use just enough steering input as they need, but what you usually see are their hot laps, or they are inside a full battle. They don't really care in the hot lap if the tire is going to die, at I don't know, 3 laps before the end of their stint or 4 laps before the end of the stint. They will just go flat out, whatever it takes. If you check some of the very best aliens, which are also very attentive to strategy, okay, and Motec and stuff like that, for example, Niels, you will see that they are extremely careful how much steering wheel they use. Some other just as fast aliens, they use more, they don't care, okay, but then you have those slightly differences. So yeah, that's what happens practically. David again. Thank you, buddy, for the lost ad revenue. Oh my god, yes, thank you so much. What type of downforce? It's not easy to here the downforce is more like what kind of balance you're gonna have into the inside of the turns, because most of the turns, as you saw, is late apex and long turns. So maybe you need to compromise a little bit of downforce in order to have the aero more balanced to help the car rotate. So I would go to mid aero maybe. Niels is here. Nice. Yeah, there he is. Hello, Niels. I mean, you all know Niels. It's always so attentive with his Motec and his extra new application. I know he's preparing some new application that is extremely fantastic to help people get faster. So shout out to Niels for that. I haven't had the opportunity and time yet to test it, but after the release I will test it absolutely. So, but you all know that he's, I mean, he doesn't let anything to lack. Vasiliev, it's what's my favorite alien? To be honest, I don't have any favorite, because I don't have favorite real drivers as well. I mean, I admire all the drivers, and I might be more, friend or admire more some drivers than others. But since a small kid, my interest was always on the cars and the manufacturers. The cars is what gets me. This is why I'm going into motorsport, for the cars, not for the drivers. I know that most of people are, for the drivers, but I'm more for the cars. So it's how I am. It's B South. The pasta man, of course. Yeah, I hate all aliens. They make my work difficult. It's true. My favorite American circuit might be Veer, probably. It could have been Sonoma also. I love Sonoma. I love Watkins Glen. It could have been Laguna Seca, but I hate the fact that it's so slippery with all the sand. I hate the slippery the slippery aspect of Laguna Seca. I really hate it. I like Marcello because he's a nice person, you know, and always available for advice and everything. But he's not the only one, and you know, it is like this. I mean, I love also Alex Fontana. He's always with me and gives me all the information I need. I love David Perel, another fine person, human being, you know, and again, all that he does for the sim racing scene and the help that he gives us. I love those guys. Yeah, Ver is a great, yeah, and Watkins Glen is fantastic. Yeah, Sonoma can be. Yeah, Sonoma is tricky. Sonoma is tricky. I tend to agree with you. Yeah, I wouldn't put it on my top, but in the top three, five, yeah, I think it deserves to be there. Kota was a great surprise for me. I was expecting to hate it because of all the things that you hear, you know, from the broadcasters and fans. But as always say, sim racers are much more informed about real racing, and they feel real racing and driving much better than any other fan because they live it, you know, they experience it. And because of that, you know, once you have learned Kota, you appreciate how technical it is and how good it is in racing. Oh, Lime Rock is nice. Yeah, I like Lime Rock. Yeah, I agree with that. Uh, Switch to boxer engines. Road America as well is amazing. How making a new truck? Well, first of all, you need to talk into an infinite amount of times to get the license. And this is where Marco Masaruto and Valerio Persanti go in and do their best. And I can tell you guys, they are the unsung heroes of what it is needed to make those games. Uh, it's easy, you know, as sim racers to be happy for me, which I'm making the physics of your cars. It's easy to be happy for the track guys that they make the graphics and the circuits where you race on. It's easy to be very happy for the 3D artists that do the models, the amazing models and amazing detailed models of all the cars. But it's easy also to forget the other people behind that do the administrative stuff and office stuff. And I can assure you though that the licensing is one of the most hard parts of making the game nowadays. So lots of work is needed by those guys to get the license. Then we need to go to the track and do the laser scan and also do lots of photos on the track, measure stuff by our hands and possibly also lap the track. Sometimes it's not possible, so we get the laser scan from another company, but usually we try to do it alone. And then we have to handle all the stuff to our 3D artists, Simone and Giovanni, that they do the actual graphics and the physics where the cars go over the tracks. That's why we need people that know exactly how our physics engine works as well. So it's complicated. Once we have done that, then it's my part to make all the setups for the cars and make all the splines for the AI, the track limits, stuff like that. Then I need to work together with Simone to place the wet lines, dry lines, rubber lines, and paddles for the wet simulation around the track, seeing how the real track is and how and the feedback that real drivers give us from the track. and then you have all the small tiny things, people that need to make the graphics and the screenshots and the videos and even that track map, so to say. So there's another guy that does all that. Yeah, there's a lot of work behind the track, and that's why you need at least 1 to 2 months for a normal track and more than that for bigger tracks. Tiziana, no, I don't think it's going to help. I mean, yes, if the situation is extreme, that it did happen in the past, in the not so far past, with some licensing, they can, say a good word about us and make the counterpart trust us a little bit more. But it's not like, yeah, they really help us with that. Maximilian, we don't implement the other variations for a couple of reasons. The main reason is time, okay? Because to implement the other variations, you need to do extra splines, extra setups, extra boundaries for the track limits, which is always difficult. You need to place different tire walls and so on to implement the other stuff. So it takes a lot of work, much more work than than you get in return of investment, let's say. Because in the meantime, once we have finished one track, we need to move to other projects and contents, right? And the other reason is that when you are doing a series, official series simulator, you need to stick with what they ask and what they give you. So those are the two very important reasons. There are other smaller reasons, but mainly those are the most important reasons. One is investment of time and effort and return of this investment and effort against other priorities, against other work that we have to do. And the other one is, official series, you need to do the official track. I don't know, Martin. As usual, I don't talk about future plans. I don't know. The cessation of speed always depends on how close things are, to your visual. So because you have the walls so close, the cessation is higher. In tracks where they are very wide and there are not things that they are moving close to your car, the cessation of speed is always less. No, unfortunately, I cannot do this, Abin. Sorry. Sorry. Hey, Andrew, thank you so much, mate. Thank you. All right, let's do a lap, right? I know, Jose. I know, myself included. I know. Okay, let's do a couple of hot laps just to see what's going on. I think I'm gonna be on the Nürburgring again, and maybe I will do a couple of local tracks here in Italy with the Miata. Dante, we just talked about that like 10 minutes ago, and we talk about that pretty much on all the videos, so I will ask a little bit of your patience to go and check the video again, and the video yesterday for the same reason, and the video the other day before, and so on. Sorry about that, but we just talk about that. All right. Circuit walks with rainy tracks. That's interesting. Yeah, maybe we can start doing that once we have finished all the tracks. That's a good idea, Salvatore. All right, let's go. Okay. Restart. That's something, you see, this is something you can do in the simulators every time. Nobody cares, right? Try doing this maybe with a very aggressive setup in reality. See how much you lose your job, how fast you lose your job. Yeah, it's, simulator is easy life, easy life. Power's gone. How's that possible? Okay, cold tires, let's wait a little bit. You see, I'm staying a little bit out here. And now we'll go in and then start accelerate. Oh, that's strange, because I've seen everything still going. That's strange. Yeah. Well, for the guys that lost the feed, I just crashed at the bus stop, so yeah. Late apex. Difficult reference point. Late apex again. Easy on the accelerator. And a little bit extra. Rotate the car. Now this is hard. Release the brakes. Go over here. We did it all wrong. We'll try it again the next time. Bring speed. Too much, but almost. Yes, I can deny everything. Nobody saw that. Okay, don't go too much over the curb. Flat out again. Pressures are coming up. Slowly but constantly. Braking at 300 mark. Release, go in fast. Yeah, much better than before. Hard on the accelerator. Stay a little bit on the middle of the road. Sometimes you need to downshift, sometimes not, depends on the car and your driving style and your setup. Late braking, late apex. This is it. Now we accelerate. And look at that. Almost perfect. Very late braking. And release the brakes. Look at how it goes in the car. .200 mark. A little bit of late apex again. Accelerate. We're still slow, but we'll get there. A bit of power oversteer. Let's try to do this properly. Release. Almost done. Lots of speed inside here. Ah, look at this. Ooh, that was good. Did you saw how much speed I had? The car was sliding, but then it found lateral grip at the uphill. It's amazing. That last corner is something special. So risky and tricky. That's why when you see the real races, you see all those drivers, professional drivers, practically kissing the outside wall, and you like, the first time you do it, you're like, why? That's why. Ooh. Alright, release the brakes. You see, I released the brakes way too late and the car just went straight. Incredible. Just need to release the brakes sooner. I cannot make a lap. We will do it, okay, that's fine. Yeah, you need to be fast on the counter steer. And and also to balance out the accelerator. Sometimes you can just stay flat out, sometimes you need to balance it with the accelerator. The most important part is not the counter steer. The most important part is the realignment. You need to be very fast at realigning the wheel. I have a video about that. Search my channel for how to realign in a drift, how to catch a drift, something like that. Have a go on this video. I think it really explains what's the important part when you have oversteer. Ooh, too much speed. Whoa. Look at this, release and in. How to catch a drift. Yeah, that's the title of the video. Search the video on the channel, and there are some important things on that. Let's fix a little bit the setup and pressures, most importantly, at the end of this lap, and try again. That was better, not by much, but finally a lap. I can use a little bit less traction control here. So let's go down to 2 and see what happens. Could use more speed in there. Again, very late braking here. And release the brakes. Oh, inside the turn like this. Ah, too wide. That's a pity. Okay, let's go to the pits. Fix a couple of things. So we need a little bit less pressure at the front. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, maybe 2. And 1 here. And maybe 2 again. 1. And that's good. I will use a little bit less of toe to help with the rotation. That looks okay-ish. Maybe I could use a little bit extra rear anti-roll bar. And yeah, I would like to use. You know what? Let's lower the rear. The rear right wing instead of raising the rear right head. Let's lower the rear right wing. Okay. The rear end jumps a little bit too much. How to control oversteer? Well, it's all about, you know, when you are accelerating, right? It's like braking on the opposite. So the more turn you have, and the more you go on the accelerator, the more the rear end is going to rotate and go into power oversteer. So in order to get more traction from the rear tires and limit, okay, the oversteer, you need less steering wheel. Sometimes the rear end will keep on sliding, so you need to counter steer, and you need to do that fast. But as soon as you go over there, go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and if you see that it rotates way too much, then you start to modulating the accelerator. Okay, modulating the accelerator. You don't need to go completely off the accelerator. You just need to just raise your foot a little bit and then go down again. Okay, it takes practice and experience. But you need to try the things in order to see how they work. Many people just go and doing the same things again and again and again into each turn without trying new things into a turn. Just trying to do whatever they know and think it's correct, and they try to make it better. That's fine, okay, it works, but if you want to go over that and learn, extra techniques, you need to try new things. So you need to not care about the lap time and try new things and see what happens in terms of control of the car. Once you have learned the new technique, then you can care again about the lap times. You mean in terms of setup? Yes, lower in the rear right height, increase or decrease top speed? Well, mainly the lower you go into the right height, the faster you are in top speed. But it also depends on the rake of the car. If you go into negative rake, you're gonna have less top speed. It's not so easy. It depends also on the aero configuration of the car. But as a rule of thumb, the lower you go, generally, to a car, the faster, the less aero drag you have, and the faster you go in top speed. Cold tires, remember? Okay, car rotates a little bit more, even in cold tires, so that's good. What is a good lap time? I think somewhere around 45, maybe. I don't remember. Right now I'm pretty slow. But we have full fuel and I'm fooling around, so. You see how I try to give more traction to the rear by, giving less steer. Because if you go in a straight line, the rears have maximum traction, and so they don't slide left and right. If you are turning, and at the same time you ask for traction, they are going to slide sideways. Now that was a good T1. That's better than before, and you can see how much speed we gained and how the delta goes down through the whole SS and straight line. That's what you get from a better exit. That's why exits are so much more important than entries. Let's go. That wasn't so good. That's better. Oh, you're kidding me. Come on, Aris. Oh, so close to the wall. That's okay. Not a valid lap, but still a 45, so you have an idea. As little steering input as possible, as you can see, to not scrub away speed. Come on, go in. I went in way too fast. Yeah, I'm slower, you see. Ah, so nice when you get it right there. Into the limiter. Oh, a little bit of oversteer right at the exit. Scary. Ah, finally. Finally. Oh, it's lights, 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 lights. Oh, so scary. Okay, 46 flat. Alright. Not that bad. Let's have also a look from the outside, right, of the replay. But you start to understand how much effort you need to put into that. This track seems like, you know, this track seems like 90 degrees turn, another 90 degrees turn, another long 100 degrees turn. And it's like, yeah, no big deal. But it's so technical, the uphills, the downhills, the camber of the road. It's extremely technical, extremely technical. Let's have a look from the outside and we can talk a little bit about it, right? Pinter seller, yes, there is clipping. Don't worry about that. This is something that I do. Because I need to develop the same feedback for all cars, okay? And I need to know where the clip is. That's why I use the gain at 100% always. If you see my video how to force feedback in the channel, you will see that I am actually advising everybody else, if they have such a strong wheel, to go low in the in-game gain, like 50%, okay, and just raise the power of the actual wheel as much as they like. So don't worry about the clipping. For your wheel, try to not have clipping. If you have a low consumer wheel that doesn't have enough power, if you get some clipping when you're going over the curb, or if you are right at the apex of you know, a very high grip turn, it's not important. It's not important. You need to have all the feeling and strong force feedback of the wheel where you are turning in, when you are going outside, and so on. So if you get a little bit of red clipping at you know, specific points, don't worry about it. Don't become crazy about that. Okay. Hey Psi, hi mate. It's hard, yeah, it's very hard. It is indeed very hard. Now again, look at this. Let's have a look from the outside. Go inside the curb, but don't overdo it because you're gonna touch out, and go as wide as possible to the outside curb. All right? No, I don't use VR, guys, because I'm doing like 10 to 12 hours every day in front of the monitor, so I don't use VR. I have tried it, exciting, that's it for me. Now, braking into the first curb, jump, keep it tidy, flat out here. Go inside and stay in the middle of the road. I'm a little bit too wide, and then late apex inside. Through the corner, late braking. Look at this, again, stay outside. I slided a little bit there, not good, but again, late apex, all right? This is amazing. Let's try a different camera. So here we go, downhill, late braking, Release the brakes here, the car rotates instantly and you can accelerate through the whole turn. This is fantastic. Again, late braking here. You'll see that I ended up a little bit wide, but late apex as well. Look at how nice it is. The exit with a tiny bit of oversteer. Woo, nice slide. And extremely fast penultimate turn. Kiss the curb inside. Great. And then just send it. This is the send it turn. Look at this. You can see how, look guys, how the car actually slides to the side. It's sliding all the way and you're like, oh my god, this is the end. You know, you're going through the wall. Look at this. It's sliding already to the side and then goes uphill and you get extra lateral grip and you just make it before kissing the wall. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right, so that was it. That's a lap, that's some laps at least to Watkins Glen. And I hope you liked it, guys. Now, unfortunately, as I said, next week I won't be able to stream, but I still have one extra video for you guys. I have already pre-registered the quota walkthrough, and I will be posting it tomorrow. Unfortunately, it won't be live, but you know, still the same excitement, still the same stupid errors, right. Are there hazard lights in ACC? What do you mean by hazard lights? You mean the four indicators? Because yes, you can, if you switch both left and right, you can have the hazard lights. It's my pleasure, guys. My pleasure. I have no idea. I think DDoS is just people that, you know, get excitement and fun for this kind of track. Yes, you have the hazard lights, both indicators. This is it, drive. You see I have buttons for left. Okay, let me show you from the outside. From left and for right, correct? Now if you press both of them, here you are. Okay, and I think for some cars, depending on the car, I think they also enable if you pull the pit limiter. So now I have the pit limiter on, and as you can see, the indicators are on and the rain light flashes. That's a did you know? Okay. That's my thought on the Bentley. Great car, amazing technology and engineering behind it for the real car. Unfortunately, probably too pricey, so not enough teams to buy it. And you know, this is GT3 racing is not official works racing; it's client racing. Bentley team tried to showcase the car. I think they did a good work, but obviously you need the more advanced teams to get the car and make it race, and they didn't bought it because probably the price was a little bit too high. I don't know the exact reasons, and so unfortunately the car remained behind in performance. But I believe that in the hands of one of the top teams with the top drivers, and it has already showcased even with the works Bentley team that it can go easily for a podium or even the win when it's needed. But you know, with just one car racing, you also have less probabilities to go to the podium. Cheapest cars are, I think, Audis and Lambos. Yeah, they're costly to maintain, absolutely, and not just the engine, but you know, the rest of the car as well. I mean, the problem with clients is always the same. Probably the Bentley cost even less than the Ferrari, so to say, but the sponsor and the client usually wants to raise the Ferrari because of, you know, Ferrari name instead of the Bentley. So that's usually what happens. The M4 GT4 is cheap, yes, but also the Ginetta, so to say. Alright guys, so yes, very important to remind you that from tomorrow Andimon has created and organized for you through our Discord community a mini US championship. They start on the Glen tomorrow. So now that you have the circuit walk, you can practice and go and have some fun tomorrow. As usual, accidents will happen in our community because we invite very fast drivers to very new drivers, and we try to learn from the accidents. So if something happens to you, don't get angry. Go into our Discord community, which you can find the link in the description as always, and explain what happened, and everybody will try to help you to how to avoid an accident in the future, or how to not do the accident if it's your fault in the future. So that's how we roll. Have fun, and see you in the next live stream. Goodbye.